Annette Funicello wasn't just a performer, she became a feeling people held on to. In the years after World War II, audiences longed for comfort, and Annette seemed to embody it effortlessly. With her warm smile and gentle presence, she gave viewers something simple yet powerful: reassurance. On screen, she appeared poised and kind, the kind of figure families trusted. But behind that image was a young girl quietly learning that being loved often came with conditions. The more people admired her innocence, the more it became something she had to protect. Over time, that expectation settled into her life as an unspoken rule: be good, be graceful, and never disrupt the image people cherished. It was a beautiful beginning, but also the start of a quiet pressure she carried for years. A childhood shaped by quiet expectations. Annette's early life was far removed from the spotlight she would later inhabit. Born in Utica, New York, and raised in Southern California, she grew up in a modest, hardworking family. Her father ran a small business, and her mother focused on the home, creating a steady and structured environment. In her community, values like respect, discipline, and humility were emphasized above all else. Annette was naturally reserved, often choosing to observe rather than lead. She learned early how to move through the world gently, careful not to draw too much attention to herself. Dance and music became part of her upbringing, not as bold forms of expression, but as ways to learn control and poise. These early lessons shaped her deeply, teaching her to maintain composure even when emotions were harder to navigate. A life-changing discovery. Everything shifted when Walt Disney noticed Annette during a performance. What might have been a fleeting moment became the beginning of a new path. Soon after, she auditioned for the Mickey Mouse Club, joining a group of young performers who would quickly become household names. Annette didn't enter this world with ambition or expectation. She simply followed instructions, as she always had. Yet audiences noticed something special in her. Her sincerity stood out, and fan letters began pouring in at an astonishing rate. While others might have celebrated, Annette approached it with quiet responsibility. She answered letters, signed autographs, and continued her work without drawing attention to herself. Fame didn't change her outwardly, but it deepened the sense that she now carried something larger than herself, an image people depended on. Growing fame without losing balance. As her popularity grew, Annette transitioned from television into music and film. Songs like Tall Paul introduced her to a broader audience, while her presence in films helped solidify her place in American pop culture. Despite this success, her approach remained unchanged. She worked steadily, avoided controversy, and stayed within the boundaries that had been set for her. While many young stars sought reinvention, Annette seemed to move forward without disrupting what already worked. It wasn't a lack of ambition, it was a reflection of how she had been shaped. She understood her role and fulfilled it with consistency. This reliability made her invaluable to studios and beloved by audiences. Yet it also meant that her identity, both personal and professional, became closely tied to expectations she rarely questioned publicly. The quiet strength behind the image. In the early 1960s, Annette appeared in Beach Party, a film that unexpectedly launched a popular series. These movies were lively, colorful, and filled with youthful energy, yet Annette remained a grounding presence within them. While the world around her became more playful and exaggerated, she stayed steady and composed. That consistency became her strength. Audiences returned not just for the spectacle, but for the familiarity she brought. Even as trends shifted and entertainment became more fast-paced, Annette didn't chase change. Instead, she offered something dependable, a sense of continuity in a rapidly evolving culture. It was a subtle but powerful role, one that required restraint rather than reinvention, and she napaya it with remarkable ease and grace. Navigating expectations in a changing industry. As the entertainment industry evolved, so did the expectations placed on its stars. Productions became more experimental, styles more daring, and audiences more curious. Yet Annette remained closely tied to the image that had first made her famous. This created a delicate balance. On one hand, she was part of a changing landscape. On the other, she represented something timeless and familiar. Rather than resist or dramatically transform, she chose to move forward quietly, adapting where necessary while staying true to herself. She didn't speak publicly about pressures or conflicts, but her choices reflected a thoughtful awareness of her position. In a world that often demanded bold statements, Annette's restraint became its own kind of statement, one rooted in professionalism and self-respect. A life lived with grace and resilience beyond her career, Annette's life was shaped by the same qualities that defined her public image: kindness, discipline, and quiet resilience. She faced personal challenges with dignity, rarely allowing difficulties to overshadow her work or her relationships. Over time, she became known not just for her performances, but for her character. People who worked with her often spoke of her warmth and reliability, qualities that can't be scripted or staged. She carried herself with a sense of balance that reflected years of learning how to navigate expectations without losing her sense of self. Even as life presented its share of hardships, she remained steady, choosing grace over reaction and composure over conflict. The meaning behind the image. Annette Funicello's story is not just about fame or success. It's about what it means to be seen in a certain way and to live within that perception. She gave audiences comfort, but in doing so, she also carried the responsibility of maintaining that image. Her journey reflects the quiet complexities behind public admiration, the way love from the outside can shape the way someone moves through the world. Yet within those expectations, Annette built a life defined by integrity and care. She didn't need to reinvent herself to leave an impact. Instead, she showed that consistency, kindness, and authenticity can resonate just as deeply. In the end, her legacy is not only the roles she played, but the quiet strength with which she lived her life.